Easter YouTube, and happy Easter to all my subscribers and people watching my videos. I never thought that my Easter present would be going to watch The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I thought I would never go watch it. My parents didn't want to, so I never thought I would. But I got the surprise and I went and watched it, and it was a mixed bag for me, and I will tell you why I did like it, and I'll tell you some of the positives and some of the negatives of The Amazing Spider-Man, The Rise of Electro. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 takes place after the first one. The lizards and all the cross-species animals have been destroyed, and all of their all the work on them have been destroyed, and it shows you how Peter's mum and dad dies and why they had to give him away, and I won't spoil how that happens. But anyway, he is Spider-Man still, and he's saving people, and Gwen and him are still together, and they sort of break up in the first 10 minutes. So that happens, and the audience is like, they're gonna get back together. We all know that. The big thing is this Max Dillon guy, Electro. He was really good in the movie. He's actually one of my favourite Spider-Man villains put to the big screen by far. He wasn't portrayed as he was in the actual comics. In the comics, I'm pretty sure he was a white guy, and he wore like a yellow electric mask, but that's not what it was like, and he became Electro from this electromagnetic pulse. He didn't fall into eels or anything like that, but I still liked the way he became Electro. He was all blue, and his whole body was just blue, and you could just see the veins through him. When he was getting angry, he sort of turned yellow and orange, and you just saw that. And before he turned into Electro, he just wanted people to know him, and he wanted to get people to know his name. And yeah, he just never really got people to know his name. And when people did, he was just so happy. But yeah. Sorry, I just had to put my curtain down. That bit of light shining my face has pissed me the hell off. But anyway, yeah, Electro, after he turned Electro, he was still sort of a nerdy guy. He still wanted people to know his name. His face was all up on the electric boards all over in the centre of town, and he was sort of happy that everyone knew him, but he didn't know that he was some big villain that he could be. But I thought of this, and Spider-Man is actually the only person who has animal in him that actually chose to use his power for good. Like Electro, he could have used his power for good easy, but the cops just had to shoot him, and he just turned evil. But yeah, that happened, and I really enjoyed him as a villain. So yeah, we'll talk about the other two villains now, Green Goblin and Rhino. Green Goblin, Harry Osborn, he was in it for the whole movie. Harry Osborn was. Green Goblin wasn't in it for the whole movie. We first saw Harry Osborn. He was with Norman Osborn, his dad, and you saw he was dying, and he was in his bed, and he gave Harry Osborn this little chip thing, and he didn't know what it was. It had all his work in it, apparently. And when he gave it to you, you saw that Norman Osborn had this sharp nails, and his face is sort of all green. So I kind of thought, well, he tried to be the Green Goblin, so maybe, well, obviously Harry's gonna be the Green Goblin now as well. So yeah, he eventually does become the Green Goblin, and the positive of this. We'll go through the positives first. The positives: he looks better than the original Green Goblin. He didn't wear a mask. His actual uniform and the actual rider thing, it looked better than in the original Spider-Man. The negative of this: he wasn't in it for the whole movie. The actual Green Goblin. He was only in it for one fight scene, which went for probably about 5 to 10 minutes, and that was it. then it was just sort of gone. That was it. Like Electro, he was in it for the entire movie basically, and he was an amazing villain. He felt so menacing, and you actually felt that he could actually defeat Spider-Man. And then we'll talk about Rhino. Now, he was the biggest disappointment out of all the villains. Like, after everything's happened, after he versed Electro and Green Goblin, everything just sort of stopped and it calmed down a bit. And Rhino comes in at like the very end, in the last 5 minutes. And then that was the end 5 minutes of the movie. They had like a little fight. You didn't even see if Spider-Man defeated the Rhino. So I was sort of like, well, that was a disappointment, because Rhino was never actually a robot in the comic books. He had armored skin and he was a human. He wasn't a human controlling a robot. But, you know, I think they could have easily put Green Goblin and Rhino, and they could have saved them for another movie and made them more villains in the other movies. You could have generated a lot more money off that and a lot more movies. But they chose to put them all in one movie, and that was sort of a big mistake, I felt. I want to talk about some spoilers now, so if you don't want to... Actually, no. Before I talk about the spoilers, I'll give this movie a grade. I'll probably give it an 8 out of 10. I felt it was a really good movie, and you should all go watch it if you like Spider-Man. I thought it was better than the first one, and I definitely thought it's better than the originals, but we'll see what happens from here. Now let's talk about the end credit scene. So spoilers, if you don't want to know what the end credit scene is, click off this video. But if you have seen the movie and you don't understand the end credit scene, then just watch this video. Well, alright, so the end credit scene doesn't happen right at the very end of the credits. There's nothing at the very end of the credits. I was very disappointed at that. So don't stay to the very end. Just stay to the first one, which is a scene about X-Men, Days of Future Past. So it was unusual for a Spider-Man movie to have X-Men in it. But there's two reasons. There's two ways that this could go. Alright, so the first reason. Sony, obviously Marvel sold the Spider-Man franchise to Sony, and they're doing it now. So that the part of the deal was they had to, maybe, I'm not sure, but they maybe had to market their product in the new Spider-Man movie maybe. Or the other way they could do it, maybe Marvel and Sony and X-Men and Spider-Man and the Avengers, maybe they're all going to come together and they're all going to make one big movie. If we're lucky, that'd be awesome, because eventually I reckon the Avengers are going to disassemble and they're going to make the new Avengers. I've read this comic book, and part of the new Avengers there is Wolverine, and you got Scarlet Witch in there as well. So I reckon they're sort of trying to push it in a bit, and they're sort of just easing us in to get used to the characters and stuff, because at the end of Captain America, as you saw, there was Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. I touched on that, but Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are actually Magneto's son and daughter. So I don't know how they're going to do it, but they should really put all of them in a one movie, and I reckon they should see how it goes. But yeah, sorry if I got a bit nerdy there, but that's just what the end credit scene meant, I think personally. But yeah, if you like this video, click the like button, share it around, tell me what you thought of this review, and I will see you guys later.